Hello, good morning, everyone. We'll just give people a couple of minutes to file in and then we'll get started. Okay, so let's make a start. Welcome, everyone. My name is Kerry James. I'm the Chief Executive of the World Hepatitis Alliance, and we're very excited to welcome you to this webinar today to launch the website and to give you guys a first look at the new campaign for World Hepatitis Testing Week, which we hope will become a new mainstay in the hepatitis calendar. So welcome, everyone, and there'll be time for question and answers at the end. So we're just going to kind of present the idea about the week and the assets that we've created for you. And then at the end, we can have a little chat about the assets or what you're going to be planning for World Hepatitis Day or whatever is going to be the most useful for everyone. So next slide, please. So, as you said, introducing World Hepatitis Testing Week. This is the first time we're going to be showing everyone the campaign. We're very excited about it. Next slide, please. So I think if you're on this webinar today, you probably know why hepatitis testing is so important. You know, we have more than 300 million people living with hepatitis, but very few know they have it. And even um, with the global estimates of diagnosis rates, in some areas, it could be less than 5% diagnosed, less than 1%, like as low as 0.1% on treatment. So, and all discussions around treatment and access to treatment, don't mean as much if we don't have people diagnosed. So testing is really the first step in order to really eliminate hepatitis. And it was pretty obvious to us that we could be doing more as the World Hepatitis Alliance to be promoting hepatitis testing. So this is our effort to do that. And of course, we all know that getting tested for hepatitis can save your life, because it's only when you know you're living with hepatitis that you are able to access the treatment and the care that you need to avoid liver cancer and other diseases. Next slide. Um, I just said that. So the testing is essential. So, but why a week? Why Hepatitis Testing Week? So we already have World Hepatitis Day, we know, which is, a huge day with people all around the world doing amazing intervention and advocacy events and quite a lot of testing, which is fantastic. But as we said before, we need to do more. We need to increase the number of opportunities for testing. So Testing Week gives us that chance at another time of the year to bring that focus on hepatitis and specifically on the importance of hepatitis testing. A week, because a day just isn't long enough. We need more opportunities to test, and a week and a month can feel a little bit kind of diluted and maybe not so urgent. So we really found that a week is probably a really strong amount of time that's concentrated, but also gives the opportunity to do more things. And there's actually a history of testing weeks In different parts of the world. There's a European Testing Week, and Coalition Plus, the network of civil society organizations, mostly in French-speaking countries and Spanish-speaking countries, they have an International Testing Week, which will be at the same time. So it's a really great way for us to be able to cross-promote and to learn from each other. In another role that I had many years ago, we actually started the first national testing week in the UK, which was a great success. And that actually led on to European Testing Week, which then led on to Coalition Plus's International Testing Week. So we're just we're continuing and building on all of these learnings that we've had that over the last more than 10 years now. And we can really use all of those, optimize them to really make Hepatitis Testing Week so important. And the reason why we wanted to have Hepatitis Testing Week rather than just a testing week is when we reached out to stakeholders before and asked people like what were their priorities around if we were going to create this new campaign. The preferences were very strongly that they wanted something that had a global focus, that had world in its name. So it would be part of a bigger movement, which is why we included world. And they really wanted hepatitis to be in the name of the week because, as we know, the profile of hepatitis can be very low in countries or in different areas. And people just felt it was very important to be explicit, to be able to have hepatitis be mentioned whenever we're talking about the week. So that's how we got to Hepatitis Testing Week as the title. And it also gives us an effort not only to increase individual testing, but another advocacy opportunity to engage policymakers, to encourage healthcare professionals. There's really a role for all stakeholders in a hepatitis testing week. And we really hope that we'll be able to support all of those different stakeholders to get involved and to play a meaningful role. Next slide, please. So I'm going to hand it over here to my colleague, Steve, who's going to talk a little bit more about the messaging of the campaign and the campaign itself. So Steve, take it away.
Hello, everybody. So further to what Carrie was saying about speaking with our members to discuss how they'd like to proceed with this, we also spoke with members to develop effective messaging and tested different calls to action for the campaign. We settled on a simple directive approach, telling readers to get tested, but in ways that would appeal to their lives directly as well. So, for example, most people won't know that they have hepatitis, or that not enough people know that hepatitis is the leading cause of liver cancer, or that hepatitis can be transmitted from mothers to babies. So with this kind of focus on the self and loved ones, we're hoping to resonate with people rather than just tell them to get tested. Next slide, please, Ben. Thanks. We also developed logo concepts, again, with the help of members. The one that they ended up choosing was this logo, which you'll see is an icon to represent testing, and wording tilted at the same 15-degree angle as our World Hepatitis Day logo. Since the week continues the work of that day, kind of made conceptual sense, but it also lends this nice feeling of action. It feels like it's moving somewhere. And action was the theme of this year's World Hepatitis Day as well. So it's come together quite nicely in that respect. Next slide, please, Ben. Thank you. And this is the messaging and the logo in the visual identity we've developed for the campaign. Here is an example of a poster. It's in the core colors of space blue, apricot yellow, and cotton white. And the call to action is tilted in the same 15 degrees to match the wording in the logo. That keeps the sense of action going, helps those words jump off the page, get people's attention. Next slide, please. You'll see shortly that, like World Hepatitis Day, we are providing posters, flyers, and social media assets for you to use across the campaign. And you see some examples there on the screen. You'll also see that we have some messaging variations you'll be able to use, including social media assets that say, "I'm getting tested," for a more personal approach that we feel would be ideal for online advocacy and campaigning. And as always, our assets are available in translations. More on that in a moment. Next slide, please, Ben. Thanks. We have also developed an advocacy angle to the campaign. This includes a template letter to send to key decision makers, urging them to prioritize hepatitis testing. And we have also created specific briefings about the campaign and its objectives aimed at policymakers and healthcare professionals. Next slide, please. Thank you. So new assets are being developed at the moment and over the next few weeks in the run-up to testing week itself. But for now, Ben is going to show you where you can find everything that we have available on the World Hepatitis Testing Week website.
Thank you very much, Steve. Hello, everyone. I am indeed Ben. I'm just going to bring up the website for you now and talk you through it. So hopefully you're all seeing Get Tested. Steve, can you confirm? Is that displaying for everyone?
I can confirm.
Wonderful. So just packaging everything up that Carrie and Steve have been talking about. Here is our vehicle for getting that message out to you and the wider world. Our Hepatitis Testing Week website URL is heptestweek.org. If someone could drop that in the chat in a bit, that would be helpful. Here is our landing page. Immediately, the call is Get Tested. We're prioritizing the message, Get Tested. This website hosts a number of things which I'll talk you through, but I'll just scroll down the homepage for you so you can see an example of one of the assets embedded here, reiteration of the Get Tested messaging. We have some stats embedded throughout the homepage on hepatitis, some general information, reiteration of the testing message, some more of the stats we were talking about. And crucially, we have this tool on the homepage. So for those individuals who may be looking for guidance, needing to find somewhere where they can get tested, we have a couple of things that they can do. First of all is find a hepatitis organization in your area. What this will do is it will potentially link individuals to members that WHA has in their region, who can hopefully give them some information on hepatitis and perhaps some information on testing if they specialize. If you hover over it, you'll see a full list of countries where we have members. If you click onto one of those, say Bangladesh, for example, hopefully that's showing you the second tab that's opened up. It redirects you to the World Hepatitis Alliance website and our members in that country. Obviously, we don't have members in all countries, so we have a separate section here, which gives people options if they don't see a country, their country listed, which is to demand access to hepatitis testing in your area and to promote World Hepatitis Testing Week in your area. These two links will navigate individuals to two of the other crucial areas on our website, which I'll come to in just a second. Finally, on the homepage, we have these regional snapshots, which if hovered over, give a little pop out with some of the key stats and information on the hepatitis landscape in those regions. Now, as I said, two clickable elements here, which link to two separate areas on our website. The first being demand access to hepatitis testing in your area. If that link is clicked, it will take individuals to the Take Action section of the website. Now, the Take Action section of the website is designed for three potential audiences: individuals who are looking for more information, looking for help, access to testing, healthcare professionals, and those who are working in governance and policy. And each of the three areas have very specific calls to action and to-do lists for each. So for individuals, we have a list of actions here, and we have an embedded letter which can be sent to ministers of health, members of parliament, to reach out to key decision makers. The letter is embedded in the website, so it can be viewed. That can be copied and pasted and put onto your own letterheads or what have you. Alternatively, there is a download letter button and you can download it ready to go in the WHA branded headed paper. Obviously, you just need to put your information in there. There are many more actions here as well, which redirect people to other areas of the site and other external links. Secondly, the actions for healthcare professionals. So there is a briefing note which extrapolates on all of the to-dos that you can see there, but there's a number of key actions to be taken. But if you click download briefing note, it will navigate you to a 2-page briefing, which has been designed, which goes through a lot more information about why healthcare professionals should get involved and why it is so important that they do engage with this. Third, and finally, is the actions for policy and decision makers. To-do list of actions, several calls, and another briefing note, 1-pager, which goes into greater detail again. So no matter who lands on this page, there will be an action that they can take. And just coming back to the homepage again, for those who don't see their country listed, and for those who do, promote World Hepatitis Testing Week in your area. This will send people to the campaign resources section of the website. Those of you familiar with the World Hepatitis Day website, as I'm sure many of you are, may be familiar with how campaign resources work. So we have a number of posters, graphics, social media campaigns, which you can take and embed directly into your, either into your workplaces or onto your online presence. We provide posters in 6 of key languages, as we do with World Hepatitis Day, but there are options for you to translate your own messaging into any language you would like. So as an example, here are some of our English posters, some of them text-based, some of them with images, different messaging across each of them. And we also have them in Spanish, French, Portuguese, Arabic, and Chinese. And you can all take a look at those in your leisure. Likewise, we have them in social media graphics, Instagram graphics, and we have Zoom backgrounds, which you're hopefully seeing now as well. Likewise, various translations are provided. You are, as I say, like with the World Hepatitis Day website, able to customize these assets to your heart's content. So we have a make your own section. Here, you can design your own A4 posters with your own messaging, your own images, your own logos embedded into the artwork. You've also got an A4 event poster where if you want to hold a particular event or testing campaign, you can have the date, the venue, and some blurb about it, along with images and logo. And you can also completely customize the social media assets and the Instagram assets. As an example, for those who may not be familiar with our poster tools from the past, if you come onto this, almost every element you see on this poster is customizable. All of the text, apart from the WHA and Hepatitis Testing Week logo, and the image is all customizable. You can upload your own, but you can select someone else's image from the custom layout here, and it will update. And you can also add your own images, logos, and messages here. You'll see the English language text, and you can replace that with whatever wording you choose. Update the poster, and the text will update. And obviously, you can select your language. Let's just use French. And it will update the poster based on the custom language you've picked, and it will translate it into your language also. That will apply for all of the elements that we have in campaign resources, from social media, Instagram, Facebook tools, to the event posters. So when you get a chance, please do go in, have a look, customize. If you come up with any issues or any problems, please do let us know. You're the first to see this website, so naturally you're the first people to be using it. So hopefully you will not come across any hurdles, but if you do, just let us know and we'll get right on it. Just finally, before I hand back to Steve, there's another couple of sections here. We've got a mailing list for you to get updates on, because as the campaign proceeds over the coming weeks, new resources will be added to the campaign resources page. So you'll be the first to know if you sign up to our mailing list, things like campaign videos, additional posters, a few other things as well, which Steve can speak to. And finally, and Steve may touch on this a little bit later, we have a partnership opportunities section of the website, which lists all the reasons why it's so important for people to get involved, and different ways and different packages for partners to support the work that we're doing for World Hepatitis Testing Week. So I believe that is right about it for now. As I say, we'll put the link in the chat. If it's not already there, you can visit, let us know what you think. And Steve, I will hand back over to you.
Thank you very much, Ben. I'm actually going to hand over to our colleague Toby now, our Marketing Communications Officer, to discuss social media for World Hepatitis Testing Week.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Hi, everyone. Toby has already mentioned. So like has been said already, this is the first ever hepatitis testing week. So it's very important for us to take advantage of our social media platforms to raise awareness and flood our timelines with the hepatitis testing week assets. So just as we do for World Hepatitis Day, we have a whole week to create a buzz around the campaign on social media. So we encourage you to get creative with the assets that we have made available. So we have the general testing week assets, which are available with calls to actions on getting tested, stats about hepatitis, and why it's important for you to get tested. However, we also have the more personalized assets that says that I'm getting tested, which can help you to start a more personal conversation going. So you can share your stories about getting tested and why it's important. And it can also be in an informal reel about you just telling us why you're getting tested and that you are getting tested. So for instance, you can just do a regular reel like you do on Instagram or on Facebook and just be like, oh, hi, I'm Toby and I'm getting tested for hepatitis. Or you can even just go into more detail by sharing the importance of getting tested. We're also going to be having social media influencers to do this as well. So they'll be sharing their stories and their activities through Instagram reels or LinkedIn reels, really, LinkedIn videos, Facebook reels, and what have you. And so you can also get some ideas from the social media influencers that we're going to be having. And so whether it's in taking a video of what you're doing or what your organization is doing in your community, or just going around to do vox pop with people in your community, asking them about hepatitis, if they know about it, and the importance of getting tested as well. So whatever creative way you decide to tell your story, we encourage you to use the hashtag HepTestWeek so that we can be able to track your activities and also share for a wider reach. And as we go along, we're going to be sharing even more social media and communications assets that you could use in November. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Steve.
Thanks, Toby. And yeah, Toby is usually on the other end of our socials, so do say hello to her. She'll definitely help you out with anything that you want to present through there. If I could have the next slide, please, Ben. Thank you. So we're just finalizing our campaign guidelines as well. These provide similar details to this presentation and things that are on the website, but also useful information about things like color palette, font, stats and facts, things like that. If you've taken part in World Hepatitis Day in the past, you'll be familiar with this. It's a very similar thing. That will also be hosted on heptestweek.org. Next slide, please, Ben. Thanks. As Ben has already mentioned, we are also going to be anything new that we create in terms of assets and that goes up on the website. We will also be letting people know about that as via email through our emailing list. So heptestweek.org/get updates if you want a quick way to get there. I've put that link in the chat for you now. So yeah, if you sign up to that list, you'll be kept up to date with everything. So if I could have the next slide, please. Thank you. And of course, if you have any questions or you want to share ideas with us or share what it is that you're planning to do for Hepatitis Testing Week, we would love to hear it. So please do just email us at contact@worldhepatitisalliance.org and let us know what you've got going on and anything you might need to know in order to best make use of your time during the week. Next slide, please. And also, as mentioned by Ben, we want to say thank you to Adley and Roche Diagnostics, who've confirmed sponsorship of World Hepatitis Testing Week so far. We're still looking for organisations to support the week. More details can be found at heptestweek.org/supporters or simply by contacting partnerships@worldhepatitisalliance.org. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we have around 7 weeks until World Hepatitis Testing Week kicks off. So this is what you can expect during that time. Between now and 21st of October, so that's around 4 weeks, we'll be developing and distributing more Testing Week assets. So keep an eye on your emails. During this time, it'd be great to let your own networks know and develop plans for how you intend to join the movement and join the week. From 21st of October, we will be launching our social media and digital ad campaigns. We would recommend you start your own supporting campaign from around that week too, just to help build that momentum. From around the 28th of October, we're going to publicly launch the official World Hepatitis Testing Week campaign film. We will, of course, share this with you directly and make available for you to share with others. We also have webinars that are being planned from around that week as well, and from partners. So there's more info to come on those as we put things into place. And then on Monday, 18th of November, the week kicks off in earnest with our launch webinar in collaboration with the World Health Organization. If I could have the next slide, please. Great. So it's open floor now for people who have any questions around the week. I don't know if there's any questions that have come through in the chat.
I see one in the Q&A box, Steve. Deborah Moores has asked, are you aware that this is already European Testing Week?
Yes, that's correct. I can let Carrie speak to this, I think.
Sure. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, we are totally aware. And I've actually been involved with European Testing Week since the beginning. So we're really trying to align as much as possible. European Testing Week Secretariat came to the World Hepatitis Summit, and we did a joint session on testing weeks and how you can make them most effective. So we're working really closely to align with them. And obviously, if you're already doing hepatitis testing as part of European Testing Week, fantastic. If you'd like to also co-brand it with World Hepatitis Testing Week, fantastic. We're really here to support your testing activities in whatever way makes the most sense for you. And obviously, in many parts of the world, European Testing Week, it doesn't exist. So this is another opportunity for them. But if you're in Europe, feel free to do what you think is the right thing for your organization and what's going to make the most sense for you. Obviously, we'd love in some way for you guys to connect the two. But we're working very closely with European Testing Week to amplify each other's work and to really make those connections so we can everyone's message is heard more often and louder. Thanks.
Great. And I also see a question, Society Hepatos, is it planned to start on November 18th each year, or will it be the third week in November?
I think this year is a testing is our trial year. This is the first year. So after we complete this year's event, then we'll do a survey again to ask people how it worked for them, whether it being aligned with things like European Testing Week was helpful for them or whether it wasn't. And then I think after we have all that feedback again, then we'll kind of make that decision. But this time in November works out quite well, I think, because we're a bit kind of 5 months from World Hepatitis Day, 4 or 5 months. It just seems like a nice way to space it far enough away from World Hepatitis Day so they can both have like enough focus and they're not kind of distracting from each other. But again, we're going to be listening to all of your feedback afterwards about the timing and whether it worked for you. Thanks.
If anyone does have a question, you can just raise your hand in the chat and we will unmute your microphones. I do see Deborah's also added, she's a member of the Drug Treatment Providers National Forum. They have a huge campaign that they will now integrate with World Hepatitis Testing Week.
Wow.
Which is great.
That's fantastic, Deborah. We're so happy to hear that. And if there's anything we can do to support that, please let us know.
Just having a look in the chat here to see if we've missed any questions. I don't believe.
I should also just drop in to say that when it comes to supporting World Hepatitis Testing Week with sponsorship, please do let any organisations know that these sponsorship opportunities are open. If any organisations you know are looking to support a cause like this, we'd love to speak with them. So yeah, please do share among your networks as you can.
Great. Any other questions or comments, or even sharing experiences around testing and how you think you'll be able to use testing week? Please either raise your hand or pop it in the Q&A function. So we have a few minutes. Okay, well, obviously you have our contact details. You can follow up with us whenever you want to. And yeah, we look forward to setting more updates. There's going to be a campaign film, as Steve mentioned, that will be premiering in about a month's time. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, we really look forward to making this a new global event in our calendar to really turbocharge our efforts to reach elimination. So I don't know if there's any more. Was that the last slide, Steve, or have you got another one?
I think the last slide was just a thank you slide. And
all right. Well, that's important. Let's put the thank you slide up.
There we go.
So thanks everyone for coming. Thanks everyone that presented, Steve and Toby and Ben. And yeah, we can't wait to work with you on this. We're really excited. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.